Hello. Welcome. I'm Daniel McNicholas, teacher, channeler, person, soul, bird listener, bird watcher, car driver, lover. I'm a lot of things. Well, today I want to talk about Nothing is Wrong. That was the title that I just wrote. And I want you to know, and I've been feeling this, having a lot of guilt come up, things from my past that I felt guilty about doing, people I've yelled at, things I've done, things that I thought were wrong, decisions I made that I wish I could have done differently, right? We all have regrets. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have any regrets at all. And sitting with those feelings, right, of guilt and shame, and you go deeper and deeper within those as you meditate and do the freedom work to unraveling all the stuff and throwing it out of your bag, right? All the baggage they've been carrying. Probably during this time, you have to spend more time with yourself, and feelings come up when you do that. And hair, just get out of here. And but what we realize when we go deeper and deeper and deeper is that we are loved no matter what we do, right? One, we have to give ourselves that love. Doesn't matter if you worked out today. Doesn't matter if you did the thing you thought you were going to do. Doesn't matter if you sold the things. Doesn't matter if you got your to-do list done. We still know that we're perfect, right? What we do doesn't define us. There's no one keeping score, right? And that feels really good, right? We can live this out and we can mess up and we can't do anything wrong. Now, there's things we won't want to do again, right? Like I'm gotten in credit card debt and I'm getting out of that. I got student loan debt. I'm probably not going to do that again, right? But it wasn't wrong what I did in the past. It was the best I was doing in that moment, and now I'm doing better. Or whatever that is for you, right? If it's that you got in these relationships or you drank too much or whatever, I've done those things too. I've gotten angry while being drunk. You do all these things, right? We're doing the best we could do in that moment. Now, in 5 to 10 years from that moment, think how much better you're doing. And you couldn't have been doing better if you didn't do worse. So all is well, right? Today, you didn't do that workout or that meditation or that thing you wanted to do. It's okay. You did nothing wrong. Now, we can always do better. It's not that we don't look at ourselves, but we don't make it wrong. There's a difference, right? We give ourselves feedback and we do better, but it's not that we did anything wrong, right? I know I feel better if I worked out. So when I don't, I feel the difference and then I get back into it, right? But don't beat myself up when I do. There's never a wrongness in what I do. Right? It's not wrong. My hair looks like this. I'm wearing an Aladdin shirt. I don't like put this perfection on these videos. That's why I don't like doing videos that have like perfect lighting and it's like perfect hair and like it's not real, right? We've been indoctrinated in a perfection society where everything around you is about perfection, the perfect body, right? The perfect successful life, the perfect, now it's traveling, right? I need to be a nomadic traveler or I'm not successful. I have to do this or do that, or I have to have this perfect relationship. This is how relationships work because they're perfect. Because relationships are never messy, right? Like I am in a relationship that's messy as hell. But that's what's portrayed to the world. And like, yeah, my hair's in my way sometimes and I don't have a hairband and I don't know what to do, right? Like it's just how things are. I was on a workout plan and then I stopped because, I got sick and, and I'm fine. Don't worry. Being sick's not going to kill you. And then I got through that and then came out on the other side, right? And now I'm working out again. But I knew I needed to get back into it. And it took a little pushing to get me back into it. But when I didn't beat myself up for not being in that, there's not this perfection thing, right? Like I have to do this every single day or I'm not a perfect being and the universe doesn't love me, right? It really comes down to school and our parents, right? If we didn't get A's and we didn't do our chores perfectly, we got punished. We grew up in a consciousness that thought punishing people created motivation. So what we do to ourselves is we punish ourselves to create motivation. We've been indoctrinated with that. And yes, our parents did better than the generation before. We didn't get punched in the face because we didn't do something right? But still, punishment was a thing. I'll threaten you. If you don't do this, then this happens, right? And that's what we do. And spiritual people do it with different things. They're like, if I don't think positively, then this happens. Cause and effect. Very black and white. If I don't meditate today, then I won't get the goal at the end, right? If I don't do this, then I don't get this. If I don't make my goals, I get punished. If we're like literally put ourselves through a grinder, a perfection grinder on the society. The funny part is if you get out of the punishment, you punishing yourself for not doing the things right. Say you don't drink enough water, or I oversnacked last night and played video games, right? Fine. If I beat myself up for doing that thing, it makes it worse. So I was an addiction counselor for a while, 4 years of my life, which is why I have the student loan debt. And it was great. I loved doing it at the time. It was not my highest calling now, but it was then. And the thing I found out about behavior is when someone relapsed, right? The legal system wanted to punish them. And it only made things worse, right? You don't change someone's habit by punishing them. They were still in that consciousness. And that might have been necessary. I'm not putting a negative on it, but that was consciousness. I saw from being a therapist that I had to do the opposite. I had to actually praise them when they relapse and use drugs again. Not saying to go do it again, but trying to counteract all that negativity. Because what someone does is they negative about a relapse, and this is any behavior, right? But addicts are like great examples of behavior and changing habits, is that when a person's addicted to something and they beat themselves up for doing it again, it gets worse and worse, and they go down a hill. Now, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they pull themselves up, right? But it's usually because someone in AA or a therapist is telling them it's okay. Relapse is normal. You were sober this long. That's way more. You were sober way longer than you've ever been in your life. So you're doing great. It's just one day. But there's this perfectionism, right? If I'm not sober 100% of the time, then I'm not doing well, which doesn't work. It doesn't work for anything, right? So that's a drug addict, which is an extreme version of addiction, right? But what if you're trying to change your diet? And you're like, I want to eat raw vegan, right? I want to eat more raw food. And I was eating some cooked food, some soup and stuff I had left. If I would have been like, you didn't do it perfect. You didn't eat purely raw vegan, and you're done. You did horrible. Now, it's holding ourselves to a high standard, but also going, hey, what if I ate, and I did this instead, which is my growth, because this is my highest calling. What if I just ate 25, 50% more raw? Boom, I can do that, right? And I also want to eat hard-boiled eggs because I know I want to gain weight and muscle. Awesome. Going to do that, right? I didn't make it perfect. And by doing that, I'm slowly getting better. Changing a habit isn't black or white. And what this has to do is you do nothing wrong. If you want to change something and you don't do it that day, you did nothing wrong. There's no punishment. We motivate ourselves through loving ourselves, saying, hey, you're doing the best you can. Hey, you want to stop drinking soda. You used to drink 4 sodas a day. Now you're drinking 2. That's way better. Hey, I was smoking cigarettes and now I'm smoking 2 a day instead of 8. That's awesome, right? Motivate ourselves through love, because then we get to counteract the consciousness of our parents that punished ourselves and thought it was this equals this. Doesn't work. It's not a motivating factor. It can work, right? There is studies that say punishment can work, right? And I get it. And putting someone in a timeout is not the most horrible thing because they have to think about what they're doing, right? That's why we do meditation and these things. We don't do it from this place that you did something wrong, so you have to go in a timeout. You do this, hey, you know what? You're getting a little aggravated. You're not doing the best right now. You're angry. Why don't you go sit and why don't you bring yourself back up? I meditate every day and take timeouts. But it's not from a place I did something wrong. It's that a timeout is going to raise my consciousness and get me more present so I can be better, right? If you take 9, I've been sleeping 9 hours sleep. I don't know why. But I know if I sleep enough, I get a longer timeout, I'm doing better, right? It's not a punishment that I'm sleeping more. It's a love, right? We always motivate ourselves through, we're always doing something right. Whatever we do is right. It's exactly where we're supposed to be. But also, we hold ourselves to a standard of doing better because that's fun, right? Like you always want to do better. If you ever played a video game or something like that, I was playing. So last night I was playing The Witcher 2 because I don't have a great computer. I can't play The Witcher 3, but it's fine. And I was fighting a boss. And at first I died to the boss, right? Or right away. And I was like, all right. Like I got a little frustrated. That's fun, right? Challenges are fun. It's a puzzle. And then I got a little better at it. But I didn't beat myself up. I was like, Dan, you suck at this game. That's what I would have done when I was a kid. But I'm like, hey, Dan, you're going to get better at this boss. You're going to beat it. You're going to figure it out. And it's going to be frustrating. But then when you get to the end, it's cool, right? Like you motivate yourself through love. Motivate yourself through that. And it's so much easier. And by saying you're doing everything right, you're allowed to fail. You're allowed to learn stuff. You're allowed to suck at something at first. You're allowed to get it wrong, right? When I learned juggling, when I learned learning Tibet throat singing, when I learned meditating, when I learned whatever, cooking, like I didn't make the best meal at first. And that's so great. So you actually become more creative, more innovative, and more productive by not putting yourself on a perfect platform. You can actually put this video out right now, even though it's not perfect. But I know I'm not going to get good lighting for my video if I don't see bad lighting. So I just got to create. And I got to put things out, and I got to figure it out. And it's not going to be good the first time, and it's going to be good better the second time. And then I just keep on creating. And then by 5 years from now, I'm creating the best videos on the planet, right? See what I mean? Giving you permission to fuck up. Fuck up, go in horrible amounts of debt, start a business and fail, go on a trip and never make it. I hiked up a mountain, Pikes Peak, and I did it on a whim, and I almost had to sleep on the trail, right? Like it took me too long. I was very tired at the end. I barely made it. I thought I was going to die. Ended up being the most enlightening experience I've ever had. But if I didn't go out there and almost fail, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done something so freaking cool. Right? You can always bail on these things, right? Like you can always fail. I could have slept on the trail. I wouldn't have died. Fine, right? Everyone's scared, like they're gonna die if they fail, but they're scared of the failure. Like I want to go hike a 5-6 week hike, 4 to 6 week hike, Colorado Trail. Really, my fear is not about not doing it. It's about failing. The fear is like, oh, I might have to get off the trail halfway through and then I'll disappoint myself. But you can do that. You can always bail on these things if you try, right? If you go get a job or do a workout program and you really don't like it, you could quit. And I know I judge myself for quitting, but you know what? Like I had a job and I ended up quitting in the middle because it didn't work out. You know what? If I didn't even try it and I quit in the middle, I wouldn't have done it at all. So a lot of people think, well, if I fail, then I'm not even going to do it. I'm not going to go out there. I'm not even going to try to draw or try to make a video because what if I don't get views, right? What if someone judges me? What if this happens? But you're not going to get anything if you don't go for it. And you're going to learn so much from going for that thing than you would, like hiking Pikes Peak. I learned what I learned when I almost died on that hike. Hey, prepare for this. Read up about things beforehand, right? Be a little more sane about it. But also be willing to stop, right? Don't push yourself so hard. Be willing to stop and rest and maybe do that. Or I can get through anything, right? I learned so much about it. And now I want to do a 6 week hike because I know the difference, right? I know to prepare a little more. I'm a little more cautious in a sense. Not cautious in like not doing it, but smarter, right? And you don't know where these things are leading you. You might start a business and it fails because you got to find out that's not the business you want to go over here. But when you start the business you're actually supposed to do, then you learned everything from your failing to do the other business, right? People are like, I need to learn about a business before I start it, but you need to just do it. You're going to fail. You're probably going to be in debt. I went in more debt and I lost money, and you could say it's a waste of time, but I know more about myself from a failing business, right? And now I continue it in a new way. That's my own. And then it evolves to this and evolves to this and evolves to this and evolves to this. Went on trips and came home with $20. You know what I learned from that trip? Have some more money saved up so when you come home, you're not poor and maybe you have a place to stay. And then next time I went on a trip, I went out and I had a place to stay when I came back, right? I already had it planned out. You'll learn, but it's going to be messy the first time you do stuff. Like if you want to go international traveling, the first time you go is not going to be your best trip probably. It might be so fun because it's new, but you're probably going to go, you're going to be unprepared, you're not going to know what to do, and you're going to be like, ah. But if you don't go on the trip, you don't know how to do it. Everyone wants to have it already planned out perfectly. And you prepare, but you also got to know things are going to fall apart that you can't imagine. So you got to go do it. Got to do it. And also know deep down that you love yourself through it, right? You know nothing's wrong. You uses punishment, perfection, consciousness. You don't have to get an A plus. Right? That was a weird thing in school we learned, that it had to be perfect when we turned in the paper. That's not how life works. It's never perfect when you turn it in. It's you turn it in once and you get it back, right? Really, that's how life works. And then you turn it in and you get it back, and then you have a better paper, and then you turn, like, you're just gonna get better every paper you turn in. I'd rather you turn in 20 papers and one be a masterpiece than not turn in any papers and wait till it to be perfect. Because if you want a viral video on YouTube, the best way to do it is create a million videos until one's freaking viral. You don't know which one it's going to be. No one like knows that it's going to be a big thing, right? It just happens because you're in the creative flow. And if it never happens, then at least you're creating. It's not beer. It's like a fit drink. If it was beer, it'd be okay too. But I don't drink beer. I drank enough beer and knew it wasn't good for me, so I stopped. Well, I love you guys. Thanks for listening. I do this for me. The more I create these videos, the more I get clarity. I definitely have guilt in me for doing things wrong in the past. I've been clearing that by talking out loud, and I clear it more. And I really appreciate anyone that chooses to watch this video or chooses to look at my hair and got those locks. If you want long hair, grow out your hair, right? Yeah. Need more long-haired men in this world. I love you so much. And I want you to go out there and fail. I want you to go out there and do something you haven't done before. And have fun doing it. I love you. See you next video.